Donald Trump thinks complying with the U.S. Constitution is a fool's errand as he attacks Senator Van Hollen of Maryland for being the first of a long chain of Democratic congresspeople and senators who are making their way to the Supermax prison in El Salvador. If Donald Trump's going to use it to house human beings who have allegedly committed crimes or are undocumented, and he's going to do that in a foreign country, then at least the Democrats are going to use their oversight power to go check on things. And if they could get the El Salvadoran government can get Armando Abrego Garcia out for a photo op to sit with the senator, or as I said, if they can give him a Starbucks, they can get him on a plane and bring him back to the United States. Democrats are finding their footing as Donald Trump digs in and becomes a willing foil for our protection of democracy. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF. Let's talk about what's going on and what is happening. You have Van Hollen, who, we'll throw up a picture, got to meet with at least Armando Abrego Garcia to check on his condition, and that went well. And now other congresspeople and senators, like Senator Cory Booker, fresh off of his marathon 30-hour session or so, giving a speech on the floor of the Senate. And these are all for a reason. These defiance, these resistance movements by the Democrats and moderates are important. Donald Trump laughs at the Constitution. He laughs, therefore, at us as Americans. And the Democrats are holding his feet to the fire. You've got at least 5 different congresspeople who are heading down to El Salvador. And you've got, this will be the second senator when Cory Booker arrives, to demand the release of Armando Abrego Garcia out of El Salvador and have him brought back to the United States. Let's make this clear. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about this. I don't know whether Garcia is a member of MS-13 or not. The question is not whether he is or he isn't a member of a gang. There's no crimes that have been charged against him in the United States and none in El Salvador. He has the right to due process, even if he's not an American citizen. He has the right to the due process that's guaranteed by our Constitution. And that's what has been denied him. And Donald Trump calling Van Hollen a fool's errand messenger that fake news media is willing to give airtime to, or whatever it is, he should spend less time trying to castigate another branch of the government and more time complying with federal court orders. We just had a withering yet soaring rhetoric of an opinion issued by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday, written, I presume, by Justice Wilkerson, in which they said, in effect, we hope that our brethren in the executive branch will aspire to their higher angels and comply with the Constitution and stop making a fool out of our separation of powers. It, as they said, this grinding of the two branches, the judiciary and an out-of-control executive branch, all it does is diminish both. And it's making, of course, it makes the Supreme Court look weak and disrespected in the eyes of Americans. And federal courts are just trying their best to try to restrain an out-of-control rogue felon president. That's what we're watching. I was sitting in a group yesterday, smoking a cigar, and we were talking about law and politics. No surprise when I'm at the table, and there was a couple of people there that were moderate and one that was a Republican, and we all scratched our head about what has happened in the last 80 days that Donald Trump can say was a good thing. Is there anything about what he's accomplished in the last 80 days, anything that is good for America? And the answer was a resounding no from that group that I spoke to. And I agreed with that. So the reason the Democrats are doing what they're doing, they're providing the oversight that the rest of MAGA Congress is not providing. It's not, as I said in an earlier hot take, it's not about a guy named, Kilmer Armando Abrego Garcia. Okay? Strip the names off. This is about higher principles and higher ideals, about who we are as a nation. And what does our American flag and our Constitution mean as Donald Trump continues his war with the Constitution? He does not need this. If he would just focus on he'd be a much more dangerous president in terms of what we could do at the midterm election. If he would focus on the economy, make people's lives better, lift people up, unite people, as he said he was going to do on the way in. He's the great uniter. Do we see anything in terms of uniting this country? It's just more division. It's now division led by Donald Trump and his vindication and retaliation campaign. That seems to be the only reason he ran for office, that and to avoid criminal prosecution and jail. It has nothing to do with Americans. It has to do with his personal wealth and his personal liberty. Isn't that obvious by now? So my point is, if Van Hollen, if they can get him out of that Supermax prison, the El Salvadorans, to put him in a photo op with the senator, then they can release him. And then from there, as we know, the Fourth Circuit now has reaffirmed for the second time the ruling by Judge Zinnes, not once, but twice in the course of a week. The Supreme Court has endorsed and affirmed and commanded that Trump facilitate Mr. Garcia's release from jail. Facilitate it. He's not doing anything. As the judge noted, Judge Zinnes, you haven't done a darn thing. You've done nothing to facilitate. Now this is going to land squarely back at the United States Supreme Court. As to paraphrase Judge Zinnes, buckle up and cancel your vacations. And I'm saying that to the Supreme Court. The niceties of the Supreme Court that controls its own docket, they like to hear the last oral argument in April. They like to take off for their vacations and go do their paid teaching gigs in Europe, all on some donor's dime, especially the Federalist Society. And then, they start issuing their opinions in May, April, May, and that's it. Forget it. They've already scheduled an oral argument for the middle of May, at least one, on birthright citizenship. That's the latest I've seen a Supreme Court hearing in a long, long time, consistent with what we said earlier on our unprecedented show here on Legal AF, which is that they're going to be working overtime through the summer on these emergency applications. They are letting Donald Trump exploit the emergency docket, the shadow docket, which has the benefit for Donald Trump of being able to try to catch flat-footed the moderates, the conservatives, and the ability to outflank Roberts and outflank Amy Coney Barrett in the normal process of lobbying for votes. They don't want lobby for votes. They want snap, blink decisions where people go automatically, reflexively to their corners. So they know they've got 4 votes. And they don't want full briefing, the Trump administration. They don't want a full record. They don't want oral argument. They don't want deliberative process by the Supreme Court where they work each other through memo exchange and law clerk memo exchange, lobbying each other to create the majority to get the 5 votes. They don't want that process. They want automatic, you 4 over there, Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh, you 3 over there, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor, and you 2 in the middle, Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. You better figure out which side you're on right now in a blink of an instant within a week's time of getting the case. You see how that's to their advantage. And they only need one of the 2, which is, it's a numbers game and it's not in our favor on the moderate, democratic, liberal side of this country, or what I call red, white, and blue, not red and blue. So we're going to continue to follow what happens with the importance of what we're watching, the hill that we're watching Donald Trump choose to die on right here on Legal AF. Have I mentioned that we're growing this channel with your help? Have I mentioned before that we need your subscriber help? It's free. Hit the subscribe button. We'll put up a little reminder there. Hit the subscribe button and help us on our march. We're adding, just so everybody does the math, we're adding about 60 or 70,000 subscribers a month. At this rate, we will hit our 1 millionth subscriber before our 1-year anniversary. And that is a testament to the work that you guys are doing, our audience is doing, and the loyalty of it, and the fact that we're committed and knitted together here, all together in our resistance posture against the Trump administration. We got to do it. We got to talk truth to each other first. So hit the subscribe button. Listen to the Legal AF podcast as well. We're top 10 in the world. I'd like to get closer to number 1 where Midas touches. We're competitive that way in a good way for democracy. So listen to the Legal AF podcast on all podcast platforms. Just tap in Legal AF and then watch us on YouTube Wednesdays and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, you can watch the video at any other time. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.